thing is trying to squeeze under it. Yeah.
It's called possum exclusion bans. So then they decided they put the exclusion band at the top of the tree there, and there's some mad scientist who's got an experimental procedure. The possums are supposed to climb into that funnel. There's a trap door so they can't get back. The possums are supposed to come down here, but they then have to drop onto that, and then they'll be collected. They'll sleep there and then they'll be collected. And they're taken away and given a lethal injection, which is nice for them.
The possum nut.
Oh, no. Oh, that's amazing.
Just leave them alone. You prove that you do something wrong. Otherwise, what much will say to you? Why don't you? You're doing something wrong. We're going to give you a needle.
What disturbs us is that in the process of fitting the metal exclusion bands on trees to make sure that possums cannot get back up the trees again, what worries us is that they're ring barking the trees and they're doing great damage to the palms. This goes back to the 1880s. The palms are classified as significant, possibly the most significant trees in palms in Victoria, and it's on the State Heritage Register, and therefore the council is supposed to have a permit before it does anything to the trees whatsoever or anything to the layout of the park, and they have not applied for a permit. So we reckon they're in trouble, and we are receiving legal advice, and we have to think very carefully of what we can do. I'm speaking for Protectors of Public Lands, which is a big coalition of about 75 to 80 groups of environment, resident, conservation, and here we've got animal welfare groups as well. And so, and here's one of the lovely wildlife of which is part of the park.
So now that you're all here, what are we going to do? I think it's about changing people's view of having wildlife. It's great to have animals, wild animals in the city. You know, let's feed them roses. Let's feed them whatever they need to eat. It's a very different attitude to wildlife than my territory. I don't want anything on it. Yeah. And it's learning to enjoy. As soon as you say to somebody, isn't it great to have wildlife in the city? They say, yeah, actually it is.
We're disputing council's claim that the possums are damaging the trees for all sorts of reasons. Firstly, they haven't shown that there's any tree damage. And under DSC guidelines, they need to prove that damage has been done to an extent that is endangering the tree. Well, obviously these trees are healthy and well. The possums have been living here for hundreds of years along with the trees. If they were capable of damaging them and killing them, they would have done so by now. And council's claiming they've seen that the tops have been eaten. Well, we've said, how do you know it's possums? You know, it's quite possible that it's sulphur-crested cockatoos flying through. I mean, what we really believe is happening here is that council wants to kill these possums. They want to do it probably for management reasons. It's easier to manage a park if there's no animals in it that you have to take into account. They have people like my organisation and wildlife welfare organisations challenging them every time they do something which is cruel and damaging to wildlife. I think it's just much easier and cheaper for council not to have to deal with animals and, you know, just look after the trees because they put a heritage value on these trees. But frankly, I don't think they've made their case that the possums are hurting the trees. I don't see how they can make their case, which is why they won't listen to our arguments, they won't listen to scientific expert reports, they won't listen to submissions, they won't listen to petitions, they won't listen to local residents. There are people on this council who basically dislike brush-tailed possums and just want to see them out of St Kilda. That's the only conclusion we can draw. People can contact my organisation if they wish to get involved with our action to save these possums. There's plenty of things for people to do. There's immediate contact to the council, there's direct action we can take, there's all sorts of ways that the community can become involved, and the bottom line is that if enough people show that they care about these possums and they voice that caring, then the council will stop. In the end, a council is only as good as the votes it gets, so in the end it's a popularity quest. Let's show the council that this decision is very unpopular and they should stop now and save the possums.